Right, start of another week on the run. So Monday, 16th of November, week commencing 2020, of course. As I've been doing recently, quick one on the fuel price. So my UK fuels one, which is a Shell card for UK fuels, it's slowly creeping back up after I phoned them maybe a month ago, and it's up to 95.46 pence this week, which is 114.55 with the VAT. My BWOC card, block card, that's my new one, which I've only been using a couple of weeks. This week it's gone up slightly, but it's still pretty good. 88.69 pence, which is 106.43 with the VAT. So I'm actually sat in a Morrison's car park now. So the pump price, I can see it, is 111.7 for supermarket fuel. So what's that? Yeah, it's pretty much 5 pence a litre cheaper than supermarket fuel, and I can use it on the Key Fuels network. So a lot of branded ones on there, a lot of Esso, Texaco, BP, the odd Shell. So that's really good, I think. So the difference in price is 6.77 pence between them two cards, and with the VAT it's 8.12, so over 8 pence a litre. So I'm really unimpressed with UK fuels. Glad I've got the block card, and I've left them and waiting to see how long it'll be before UK fuels ring me up and ask if everything's okay, because I'm not using the card, but who knows, I might not do it anyway. But I'll have that conversation if they ring me. So yeah, a bit of a lazy start this morning. Doing a few things, getting the stuff ready for the week this morning. Didn't really start looking until maybe just after 10 o'clock. Picked up my first job at about 20 past 11. Feeder's pretty slow. And I've since checked on my tablet, which I'll show you shortly. I should mention it now. Got myself a tablet, cheap tablet off of Amazon. I don't really like shopping on Amazon, even though I've done a fair bit of Amazon Flex deliveries, but yeah, it's a Vankyo S something. It was 140 quid, and with the case and the screen protector, it's like 165, 170 or something. Happy with it so far. Just a Wi-Fi one, so I used the hotspot on my phone. Seems to be working pretty well. So yeah, I actually checked on this when I finished today, this evening, when it went really quiet. Did I miss many jobs this morning by starting at 10? And to be honest, there wasn't. I think it's just quiet. That's the lockdown kicking in. So I got my first job 20 past 10. That was 2 pickups in the West Midlands, pretty close to each other, to pick up a box from one place and then a pallet from the other. Pretty straightforward pickups. Dropping off in Bristol. Got to Bristol, tipped about 2:30. Yeah, so that I only charged 69 for that job, which including the getting there miles was about 70 pence a mile. But it was a short wheelbase job, but it's just that quiet, and I'm struggling to get anything, struggling to find jobs to bid on. I'm in flexible mode, so yeah, didn't price that one too high. Got 69 for that, and then I sat in Bristol for quite a while, and then managed to pick up a centre of Bristol job through to Cardiff, which was a small van job. I think it's 44 miles. I went in at 38. I thought I could go in at 40, but I'll just knock a couple off. It sounds a bit cheaper. So I got for 38. It's 4 miles to get there, so I think that was like 79 pence a mile. But it's one of these small jobs, so 107 for the day. 8:15 now. Obviously a poor day, but partly my fault for starting late. And I think it is just going quieter, so I can possibly this week might be a bit of a struggle. Off of today's experience. So I'll take you my fuel price day so far. Oh, the second job, I almost got another job out of this second job, because picking up from an office block in Bristol, BS1, centre of Bristol, dropping off to a private residential address. Got there, no one was in. I phoned the shipper, they phoned the customer says we can't get hold of him, can you bring it back? So the shipper said, how much do you want? I says, oh, same again, return trip. And she's like, yeah, happy with that. So I thought, oh sweet, at least Obviously, it's never good when a job goes wrong, but at least I'm getting, you know, another job back to Bristol out of this. And then just as I agreed that, the guy turned up, didn't he? So, yeah, could have got another 38 quid going back to Bristol, but didn't happen. So that's Monday, 107. Not the greatest, but at least I'm in three figures. I dread the day where I'm going to not reach three figures for the day. Hopefully the rest of the week will make up for it. Yeah, but on the drive over from Bristol to Cardiff, I did see a few funny things written on the back of vans, so it's got me thinking. I saw one, it was Iveco, and somebody put letters MASS before it and CH after it, so if you spell that one out. And then I did see another one, the old classic cock and balls, which always makes me chuckle. I know it's a bit juvenile, so maybe get something going here. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen written on the back of a dirty van? Answers below. Yeah, use asterisks or whatever we have to, so I didn't pick up with YouTube. I do mark these videos as not for kids, so don't worry about that. Yeah, so that's Monday so far. In Cardiff, looks like I'll be tramping around here. I'll try and get up early, get to bed early, get up early, and try and have a better day tomorrow. Right, now Tuesday evening, however, a bit more of an update on yesterday. So after I finished the last bit, that was like 8:15, 8:30, one of these COVID sample collections pinged up from Bristol. I was in Cardiff, so it was pick up within the hour, so 8:30 to 9:30. It said I was 50 minutes from there, and two actually pinged up, Bristol BS4. One to the lab off Euston Road, WC1H, and another one going to Norwich, NR10, the other side of Norwich. And I thought, well, Norwich is way too far because that's going to be like between 2 and 3 in the morning by the time I get there. I figured if I did so I went in for the London one thinking I can get that done by midnight, all being well. Got the job. I put in the thing, I was 50 minutes from it. So got the job. I priced it at 70 pence a mile, including the getting there from Cardiff to Bristol. It was 123 miles. I priced it at 115 and got it. But it is an evening job, so I think maybe sometimes I've been pricing these a bit too cheap in the evening. Anyway, got it because it was a really quite late one, obviously later than most of them. It was with a normal courier. It seems to do most of them. So I head off over there. Got 50 minutes to get there, or an hour to get there. It said 50 minutes. It just turned into a nightmare journey. So the M4 through like Newport and stuff was just loads of roadworks going down. It's down to one lane in places. 40-mile-an-hour limit. And it's loads of speed cameras there, so you just have to stick to it. Got over the bridge, Prince of Wales Bridge, into England. Think hopefully that's it for the roadworks. Google's telling me to come off on the M32. I think it's the M32, then head south into Bristol. M32 is shut, coned off. Have to keep going on the M4, heading east. And it took me on a massive loop to get back round to get there. So yeah, it took me well over an hour to get there, probably like an hour and 20, if not a bit more. Shipper rang me, I just had to say sorry, the M32 shut and it's taken me a heck of a lot longer. They were okay about it. Got there, it was another residential address. So the two jobs were from this one address, so it was one sample again. I'm guessing there's probably one sample going to the Norwich one. So what I'm thinking now is these can't obviously be, the mass testing, just people wanting to know whether they've got this COVID or not. I think some of these people I pick up from must be on some kind of trial. The one I did in Liverpool last time, she said, or gave the impression, she said to me that she's regularly got couriers going there. There was an issue with the address and they haven't put it right, the courier, and she was playing hell about the office for the shipper, saying they were useless. Yeah, so that was quite interesting, but then obviously delayed getting there, and then the M4 was shut, junction 10 to junction 8, so I had to come off at junction 11, head sort of like north east. Google at least knew about this shut being shut, so it just sent me another way. So I had to cut across the M40 and then down into London. So by the time I was tipped and stuff, it was more like 1 in the morning. I was absolutely knackered. Wasn't going to drive out of London to tramp outside of London, so I just got to bed really quickly, just after 1. Got up at 7, so 6 hours. Slept pretty solidly, but 6 hours obviously, and I was tired anyway. Thinking need to get a job before 8:30, because that's when I'd have to start paying for parking. Luckily got a job just after 8, North London to Huntingdon by Peterborough-ish way. That was picking up from a secondary school. 47 quid I went in, but I was just keen to get out of London paid and not have to pay for parking. It was like 70p a mile to some printers, taking stuff back to a printers. There must be something wrong with it. And from there did a local job, from a builder's merchant to a construction site for a new supermarket. Took some materials there. I won't go into too much detail on that, but that was just like a minimum charge job, 40 quid, short wheelbase job. And with the loaded and unloaded, it was just over 40 miles, so just under £1 a mile for that one. And then I sat for quite a long time in Peterborough, thinking that might be it for the day. 47, pretty slow feed. And I still get notifications for West Midlands, because I've left that notifications on and left my home location back there, and even that was quiet. But eventually I picked up a small van job from outskirts of Peterborough up to Leeds, which is where I am now. Leeds. So yeah, that was from like an industrial unit and dropping off to a rail yard where they obviously maintain all the locomotives and stuff. That's it. Yeah, so just had some chips, not very healthily today, so that kind of saved the day. So I'm on 174 for today, and I think I did 226 yesterday, so I'm on 400 after 2 days, which is bang on target. But yeah, it is quiet, pretty hard going at the moment. Seems to be a bit quiet of the feed than last week, but hey ho, still doing okay. Yeah, so that is Tuesday. Absolutely knackered now, don't even tell. Just gonna watch something on my downloaded the series onto my tablet off iPlayer, so gonna watch probably one of them. It's about an hour, and then I'll get an early night. Right, 8:30 Wednesday evening now. Yeah, so got quite an early night last night. Went to the Morrisons down the road from where I was, from the Chippy, and yeah, it's quite good because there's a really big car park in this Morrisons. It was a bit out of town. There's no parking restrictions. Parked right in the corner. Really quiet. It's quite mild last night. It's got colder today, but so far this week it's been ridiculously mild for mid-November. Had a real good night's sleep actually. But I think I did over 9 hours solid in the back of the van. So I was really tired. Quite mild. Getting used to my camp bed's actually quite comfortable, as long as it's quiet enough to sleep in at. Yeah, so woke up reasonably early. Won't say too much about the first job, pretty straightforward. It was a minimum charge job. 45 quid. It was Leeds, a few miles from where I was, down to Sheffield. Worked out just over £1 a mile. It was rolls of insulation, really easy to load and unload at a building site. But one thing I will mention about this job, it's one of them ones where when you get the job come through, you see they've got a few notes on there about their terms, and if you carry on with this job or take this job, you agree to our terms. And they were really weren't the best, to be honest. It was an hour waiting, so in a normal van I include half an hour combined waiting and loading, which I think is enough, more than enough. Some people 20 minutes for a smaller van, a medium-sized vans. Maybe an hour is okay if you're in a truck. I'm sure it said £15 an hour after that, which isn't enough. Maybe just about enough if you're in a small van, but probably not. If you're in a big van, definitely not. And then the other thing it said, which I've never seen before, was if there's a problem and there has to be a return journey to the original pickup, it's paid at half rate, half of what the job was on the going out. And I still went ahead with the job, but to be honest with you, if it was less of a shipper's market and you just kind of have to get the jobs you can at the moment, if it could be a bit fussier, and if the food was really busy and I thought, oh, I might get a job anyway, and it's not that big a job, I might have rang them up and says, oh, I can't do it in them conditions, find someone else, politely declined the job. But with it being as it is, it's pretty quiet. So I got to Sheffield. That was dropping off right in the middle of Sheffield some renovations work to some office block. And then I got another job from Sheffield. Maybe an hour later, I picked it up. That was picking up 3 packages, not even sure what they were really, doing like bags and big black plastic cases from a private address down to like a just down south. It's quite a longish job, by Reading, or south of Reading, but before getting to Basingstoke, just north of Basingstoke really. Yeah, and I tipped that about 3 o'clock. That was 137. It's 137, 145, I think it's 182 for the day or something. So I thought 3 o'clock, hopefully get at least one more small job, minimum charge job, to get over my target for the day, 200. Just didn't happen. I did quote on a few jobs going north, like Manchester and stuff, but they would have been, forgot for one of them, it would have been a really good day. But I didn't get anything, so yeah, a bit below target now. After 3 days, I'm not quite on 600. Yeah, so we're not a million miles off. So a lot of time waiting around. Driven down to Basingstoke, it's about, I think it's 5 or 6 miles. I'm actually parked in another Morrison's now. Same scenario, big car park, no restricted parking, parked in the corner. So stay here tonight's the plan, and I can go in the morning and get me ready meal and me coffee. Hopefully have a better day tomorrow. Same time, same place. Forgot to say, update, tramping gear update. Somebody did say, or I read it somewhere, can't remember who it was that said, when you're tramping in the back of the van, obviously it's just ply lined. Good to get yourself a rug or something like that, so you know when you're in and out of bed, and you're on your bare feet, you're not standing on a cold floor, especially it's getting in, well, proper winter now, isn't it? So I treated myself to one of these. It was in Home Bargains or one of them type shops. Luxury indoor washable doormat. Went for the indoor type, £4. So that should do the job. Bit of comfort for when I'm roughing it in the back of the van. I was still not settled on a proper tramping arrangement. When I do, I'll do a video, I keep saying, on my setup, but yeah, it's still kind of evolving. So it's a quick update on tramping gear. Right, Thursday evening now, 7:15. So I was in Morrison's this morning. Didn't actually get my first job until 10, which is partly my fault because I was just excuse me, it took too long to get up this morning because it was a bit colder now. But yeah, it's like looking for good 2.5 hours before actually got a job. Bit quiet that part of the world. Basingstoke. Eventually got a job from Andover. It's picking up from an industrial, in a unit on an industrial estate. Company that does like flue parts, like chimney parts. And it was 2 drops, one in Welwyn Garden City and the other one in South East London, SE1 in the ULAZ. It turned out I was delivering to their engineers who obviously didn't have enough stuff for what they were doing that day. First job was really easy. Welwyn, that was really easy to deliver to. Second one, obviously, to drive into London. SE1, that typical thing is that there's nowhere to park, but I managed to kind of just go somewhere into like a private entrance where I probably shouldn't have been, and called the engineer and he came and got it. So that was, I went in at 110 for that one, but it was 15 quid congestion charge. It was 95 quid essentially, which was just over 72 pence a mile. Is only a small van job, including getting there from Basingstoke to Andover to pick up. Yeah, and then I was in SE1, so I couldn't hang around there too much because I was parked somewhere I shouldn't have been. So I moved only like a few miles down the road to a Tesco, parked up there, picked up a job, a NR10 job, which is one of these the usual shipper doing COVID samples to Norwich. Yeah, and that was like a bit of a nightmare. CX said 20 minutes to get there, 4 miles, and it turned up being close to 40 minutes to do them 4 miles. So yeah, lockdown and London traffic, I don't think it's having that much effect. When I was driving through the ULEZ, because it's the first time I've really done it during the day and paid a charge. I've set up my auto pay now. I don't know if it's normally the case, but I found I got in there, obviously people avoid it so they don't have to pay it. And traffic inside was noticeably quiet. It's obviously to be expected. Don't know if it's partly because of this lockdown. Yeah, did the pickup straight up to here. Yeah, and I don't feel nervous or anxious anymore driving on London so much, but because I did when I first started going in there. I still don't like it. For me, like an hour driving through London, stop start, traffic lights galore, people trying to nip in and out of traffic, and all the mopeds and stuff. It feels like an hour's driving in London is at least feels like 2 hours out on the open road to me. I much prefer the open road. But anyway, couldn't be too fussy this morning because beggars can't be choosers at the moment. You just got to take the jobs where you can get them. So I'm up in Norwich now. Third time I've been here. It's not actually Norwich, NR10, the other side of Norwich. Parked in the same spot where I tramped last time. A job did ping up actually on the way here to quickly stop the village down the road to fuel up and get some chips. And there's a job, Great Yarmouth, tonight through to Bristol, and I thought, forget that, it's going to be a late one, probably like 1 o'clock getting there. But I'd rather do it, so I went in for that, but didn't get it sadly. So this place, so many jobs come in here. I think it must pay decent money. I've had good money on certain jobs, like one I did last week in terms of loaded mile rate. And this time there was a long wheelbase Sprinter there, and the same thing happened last time. So unless they're doing it for like 65, 70, 75p a mile loaded, maybe, I can't imagine they're doing it for that, but you never know because it's quiet at the moment. Yeah, so it's going to be quite cold tonight. So I heard on the radio it's likely to be a frost in East Anglia. So probably the first trial of this decent sleeping bag I got. I'll have to make sure I've got a few t-shirts on my stuff for tonight, I think. Not sure how well I'll sleep, but yeah, that is Thursday. Right, Friday afternoon now, or early evening, 5:30. Yeah, so I was tramped in just around the corner from this lab last night, same spot as last time, right outside like the village shop or the village hall, and a village shop next to it, so I could get my coffee in the morning. Yeah, it got really cold last night. There's frost on the van. I had to defrost the windscreen. I think it was only just below 0. Bit of frost on the grass. I slept okay with my new fancy sleeping bag and stuff, but slightly cold, sort of. I think I slept alright initially, and then I probably only slept solidly for maybe 5 or 6 hours. And then I was pretty cold. So I need to maybe put that second cheaper sleeping bag on. Can't see myself getting a heater in this van because I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep it. Probably get a bigger van in the new year. That's the way I'm thinking. Yeah, and then I managed to pick up a job just after 8. It didn't say e-quotes only, so it was 10 miles from where I was. Going to it was a CO postcode, Colchester Way, CO9. I was just picking up, I don't know what it was really. It was a package, said something to do with antiques, and I just picked up from like private posh house in the countryside, going to an upholsterer's, but that was just on a farm. There's no upholstery sign there at all, so I managed to find them. But when I was driving there, this one, I did something I don't normally do, which I got a job booked in before I finished that job, because as I was driving along, one pinged up and I saw PO9, or CO9, sorry, definitely not Portsmouth. I thought, well, that's where I'm going to be, and it's slightly rural. I'll stop and have a look at that one. I was only 10 minutes from the drop, according to Google Maps navigation. So yeah, I just thought, banging it was only short wheelbase job, that one, and it was 8 miles. I just thought, go in at 40 quid standard charge. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, then no stress, because I need to finish this job anyway. And then they just sent it through. They didn't even phone me. It's obviously a bit naughty of them, so I just accepted it. Finished the first job, bit of faffing around trying to find a farm, and then it was about 6 or so miles, something like that anyway. So it was like 15 miles all in for the second job, 40 quid, so that's quite nice. Got the rate up. And that was just from one builder's merchant to the same builder's merchant, but in different town in Braintree. I dropped in Braintree. And then I parked up outside there for a little while. Slightly quiet, sort of like northeast of London here, sort of Essex way. And then I thought, right, I had my dinner and I thought, right, shortly I'll go and get a coffee and I'll start heading west empty, just to get a bit closer to Harlow and stuff. But just before I did, a job pinged up again from, or in that area, from Colchester, which is like 15 miles further east, going to Birmingham. And I was like, right, that's the job. I want that job. Is, it's small van only, so it's 150 miles. I just quoted it loaded miles only, 65 pence. So I went in at 100 quid. Works out about 65 miles, 65 pence a mile. Kind of rang them, because he didn't say quotes only. Had to wait for him to get back to me, but he did get back to me and I got the job, so that worked out really well. Picking up from a motor rewind place in Colchester and then dropping off in a motor rewind place in Birmingham, 10 miles from home. So I trundled up here now, so I'm home before 6. Managed to avoid many dead miles on the last day of the week, so that's a win. I think I'm slightly short of target, being £1,000 for 5 days out on a run. I think my pencil miles should be better this week, considerably better. I'm hoping it's in the 70s, all miles. That'll come out in the summary. I don't normally mention who I'm doing work for or the exact name of the companies I'm picking up for and stuff. I think it's best to keep that to myself, but I will mention the shipper I worked for today. All 3 jobs were the same, and it was Speedy Freight. And the reason I'm going to mention it is because it's like positive. I mean, some people, I've seen people write and stuff, some of the big shippers, it can be all, chasing costs down and trying to knock you down on price. But I've always Speedy Freight, one of the bigger national ones. I got branches all over the country. I did hear there's something to do with the Stobart group, Eddie Stobart. Don't know if that's true. I found them great, to be honest, because they generally pay decent rates, rarely challenge it, and the payment process, they accept all invoices at the moment. Since COVID, they accept all invoices electronically, and you don't even have to email them. If you just upload your pod to the CX and make sure you've created your invoice on the CX, they just take it from there, and they pay 30 days and a month, which is fairly typical. Isn't the best, but isn't bad at all, really. So the most you're going to wait is 2 months. The only thing about them is, I've noticed if you do like several jobs in a month, they'll just pay you with one and they won't say what invoice it was, so you just have to go through and make sure the tally that the amount they've paid for you covers all the ones that were due for payment, that thing. But it's easy enough. And a lot of big nationals, people say we don't bother leaving feedback, but I get quite a lot of positive feedback from Speedy Freight, so yeah, I quite like working for them. Probably one of my favourite, definitely my favourite big national to do work for. So yeah, that's Friday done. I am absolutely shattered now. Go in, have a shower, a few rums and coke, I think, on a Friday night. Yeah, and just chill out, I think. So that's Friday done. Right, review time. So review on a Sunday this time. Yeah, so I'll just quickly go through. So I was out tramping all week, 4 nights in the van. Yeah, so Monday, as ever, these are just my what I charge jobs, so that would go on top. And obviously got my costs to come out of this, and then that'll be my profit, and then whatever my profit is what is treated as my income, and that's what I pay tax and national insurance on, as I'm a sole trader. So Monday, 3 jobs, 69, 40 and 115 for 224. It's actually my best day of the week, Monday. Tuesday, 47, 40 and 87, 174 for the day. Wednesday, 2 jobs, 45 and 137, which comes to 182 for the day. Thursday, 92, 95 pound jobs. That's after I've taken the congestion charge in London off of one of them. So that's 190. And Friday, 70, 40 and 100 made 210 to round off the week. So that comes to £980 for the week, which is slightly 20 quid short of my target. So at the moment I'm trying to do 200 per day without tramping, which is okay. I think it's not fantastic, but the way things are with COVID and stuff, can't be too fussy at the moment. That's £196 a day. Mileage for the week, this is probably the best thing about the week. Even though I was slightly below target, my mileage is a bit lower this week, so it's 1,348 miles, primarily because I managed to get that job home on the Friday to Birmingham, 10 miles from home. I had a good day on the Friday to get back, which means my loaded and unloaded miles. So that mileage is all my miles from leaving on a Monday to getting back on a Friday, loaded, unloaded, dead miles, all included in that. So my all mileage pence per mile was 72.7 pence a mile, which is pretty good. So I'm trying to do 68 minimum. Last week I did 67.3, so this week's 72.7. So that's the big plus from the week. I would say the CX is definitely getting quieter. Still, with this second lockdown, it was generally getting a bit quiet, I reckon, before this second lockdown, and it's definitely quieter now than it was. It's like stepped down a bit. So 2nd of December, so I think it's like a week and a bit, because it finishes on a Wednesday, and I'm hoping there's going to be 3 busy weeks before Christmas, so just plod on as best as I can at the moment. Plan is to tramping mode again from tomorrow morning. Not got anything booked in as yet. I tend not to at the moment on the Mondays unless a really good job comes up. Just so I'm a bit more flexible and no rushing about on a Monday morning while I'm at home. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I've tried to make this one a little bit shorter. I did at the beginning of the video do a thing about funny things I've seen written on the back of vans early in the week. So yeah, I'll put on the screen now. Also, myself, probably the funniest thing I've ever seen on the back of a van. Yeah, so that was a few years ago, that one. Yeah, so any comments as usual, please below. And what's the funniest thing you've ever seen on the back of a van? Any comments? One other thing to say is I've had a few people comment. I try and do this. I don't want to. I'm trying to keep my identity basically quiet because I just rather keep this sort of incognito, just and not mention where, like who I'm working for and where I'm picking up and stuff, unless it tends to be positive or something, rather than whinging. So a few people have said about the fuel card block or BWOC, referral. I didn't no idea they do referrals, so I'm going to ring them and speak to them about it, and maybe they can give me a code and I can put it. But I never really done this channel to make money. I just do it more because I enjoy doing it, enjoy sharing my experiences, and I get a lot out of it as well from the feedback and stuff, and then other people get stuff out of it as well, so it gives me something to do while I'm out tramping and stuff. So yeah, I quite enjoy doing it, but I will look into that. I will say with the block card, I wouldn't say I'm recommending it. I'm really happy with it so far, but I wouldn't say I'm like promoting it or anything like that. Don't think I'm endorsing it or that kind of thing. It's purely early days. With a block card, it uses a key fuels network. The one downside I can see, I think it would be the same as far as I'm aware, any fuel card that uses a UK fuel key fuels network, you can use loads of it's quite a good range of petrol stations to use, fuel stations, but for some of them there is a surcharge to go on top of the basic price, and when I signed up they sent me like a spreadsheet. In reality, you're not going to go to a garage and go, right, has this one got a surcharge, and look it up. So when I did look at it, most of them were like in like remote areas like Hebrides and Scotland, and I think the highest one I could see surcharge was 10 pence a mile, but that was the Isle of Orkney or something. But I think also motorway services is possibly a surcharge on there, so I tend to avoid them. I can use Tesco, I think, but if I use Tesco, apparently I just pay the pump price, which at the moment is probably like 6-7p, a bit more than I'd pay just on a card price. And he did say if I stop at an Esso station and it's got a Tesco like extra or whatever, it counts as Tesco, so I just pay a surcharge or pay the pump price. I'm not sure, so I tend to avoid them as well. So yeah, it's not quite as straightforward as using the UK fuels card, Shell card I got through them, but then their price now is like 5-6% a litre more anyway. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to add that. Almost forgot, but yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.